Hello, everyone. I'm truly excited today. It's a big honor and a privilege to me. I have the one and only His Highness Lakshyaraj Singh Mewarji with me today, joining the SDJ podcast. He is a modern custodian of legacy, blending timeless royalty with progressive vision. From preserving heritage to shaping the future of Mewar, his journey is one grace, leadership, and a purposeful journey. So, thank you so much, sir, for taking out the time to do this podcast with
Not
me.
at all. With pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for having me. And I'm glad we bumped with each other at a common event, and we were able to catch up and bring this to fruition.
Right. So to begin with, my first question would be, you were born into a 1500-year-old legacy, but the
Ji.
identity today is self-created. Where does His Highness Lakshyaraj Ji Singh Mewar is ends and the Mewar legacy begins?
That's a very interesting question. I think the beauty of it is that you got to be true to spirit of what your ancestors have done. मतलब मुद्दे की बात यह है कि जो लोगों ने पहले काम किया है, जो मेवाड़ के मूल्य हैं, the principles that are there on which Mewar was founded. So finding and striking the right balance of the 21st century and still working ahead on them and doing your deed and what is required for your environment, for the people as best as you can. So you're discharging your responsibilities in a responsible manner, even in this 21st century.
Okay, and so I want to know, like today, you are just not preserving history, you are representing it. How do you decide what to protect and what to evolve?
Hey, देखिए, at the end of the day, I think preservation is in executing what you need to do. It's not something that is there standing still. मतलब उसको आपको करके बताना पड़ता है. मतलब वो कहते हैं ना कि नियत जिसकी अच्छी है, किस्मत उसकी दासी है, कर्म जिसके अच्छे हैं, उसके घर में मथुरा काशी है. So it's ultimately on the deeds as well, that everything is based on. So you don't really kind of need to think about the fact of who you are, where you are coming from. I think you need to carry that forward in your action more than anything else.
And so, in a democratic India of today, what does royalty truly mean today? Does it mean privilege, responsibility, or purpose?
Responsibility, privilege, or purpose. I think all three.
Right.
I think it's definitely a privilege. It's definitely a responsibility, and there has to be purpose to be able to do all of this. There is no point if there is no purpose in life. If you don't have a goal, if you don't have a laksh in life, then it becomes very difficult. And I think ये सारी तीनों चीजें हैं, and it needs to come together in the right mix. It needs to come together in the right balance, which I think the person needs to know according to their circumstance, their situation, what they are confronted with, what they have to deal with, so that they can deal with it and execute their responsibilities to their fullest form.
So, today you're into so many things, but what would you say like leadership? Is it inherited or is it consciously designed through experience or exposure?
Both. It's definitely inherited as well, and it is definitely designed through experience and exposure. You can't just have one. Especially depending again on circumstances, depending again on situation. But you cannot have one without the other. There is certainly a balance between the two. And the ones who inherit it have to be responsible, and with a lot of power comes a lot of responsibility.
Right.
So I think that is something that one has to be conscious about, and not get carried away. The more responsibility you have, the more you need to be conscious of what your actions are going to cause, the effect and the impact that is going to be had on the people, or on the actions or things that one has executed or done or will be doing. So those sort of things have to be thought through very maturely and very consciously.
Right. So you represent heritage luxury through hospitality also. How do you
Ji.
ensure it never becomes just opulence without a meaning?
I think luxury now, you have to be very sensitive to, in terms of materialistic things, one has to be exceptionally sensitive. But luxury today has really become about time.
Right.
It's the time that everybody is fighting against. It's those intangible aspects of luxury that are now very, very important, which one needs to understand. Efficiency, productivity needs to grow, flows and processes need to be better so that people can actually enjoy. Because these days, materialistic items are now mostly available. People have that to them, but it's the peace that they are really looking for. It's the time that they are really looking for, being able to do things that they really want to do, other sort of things that they are really looking for. So, in the industry, to be able to provide that, for people to be able to make time. So whenever they are there, you make sure that you are being able to treat them in a manner where their time is most well spent and is experiential. So whatever they've come to absorb, be it heritage, be it culture, be it tradition, something that they have been able to enjoy in a manner where it's worth their while, and something that kind of brings them back and gets them rooted to their own culture and tradition. And if they are people from outside of this culture, it kind of evokes a sense of sentiment, awareness, and spiritual calm within them when they are amongst all of this Indian heritage and culture as well.
Okay. So you've actively supported education, especially for young women and children. Uh, I want to know, what does empowerment truly mean to you beyond philanthropy?
Education. I think for me, empowerment to anyone, if countries need to prosper today in the forum, in the world forum, or societies need to prosper, I think all of that needs to happen and can happen through the tool and the vehicle of only and only education. I think whatever one can give is dan or shiksha. That is the most important thing. I think people and communities being educated today, being self-sustained on basis of that is, I think, the greatest gift that can take place. And I think we should all work towards an educated world, an educated country, an educated state. And I think which is what is going to be able to have the maximum impact, the most impact, especially women. If the education and awareness within women is higher, the entire family gets educated.
Right.
So even if we go back to the olden days as well, when our grandmoms, great grandmoms were the ones who were running and understanding how things were done, from medicines to taking care of a child, those were such sensitive things, which, to be able to have the technical nuance and awareness of, was binding and keeping the entire family together. What food to make and which food goes well with what food today, for which we are going externally outside to ask dietitians for suggestions and advices. Earlier, these things were coming very much from home and they worked really well. So I think what is very, very important is to be able to have that common knowledge, the common sense, to have the general knowledge, to be able to be aware of what is in and around us. So for to be able to do that, I think education is the way forward. So that is definitely one scope that I feel in terms of philanthropy one wants to do. I think the greatest gift would be to be able to teach as many people, because it's not about giving them a master key, but it is allowing them to teach the art of making a key for the lock that they wish to open.
Right. So I was reading somewhere you describe yourself as a scientific sadhu as well. So how do you
Indeed.
balance spirituality with the ambition of a modern world?
I think they both go hand in hand. At the same time, these are things that kind of keep you grounded, keep you centered. In all the stressful life that one actually does, it's a journey that I'm really trying to talk about. I think today religion and science are two sides of the same coin, and in whichever way we understand them and the way we wish to understand them is, I think, where our learning and growth comes into being. And I always have said that the idea is never about going through life, the idea is always about growing through life. And I think the scientific sadhu part of it, from science to sadhu or sadhu to science, has been a journey about growing. And I think that's when we keep our eyes and ears open, we allow ourselves to absorb certain things, when we want to be a dry sponge and absorb what is there around us. So I think that is what I really kind of speak about, and I think it allows you to keep calm within tough situations. Kind of gives you the focus to be able to think ahead, and to have that clarity that is actually needed, so you don't end up reacting to things and you end up responding to things.
Also, so I want to know in today's time, especially in the age of reels and short attention spans, How do you keep century-old stories actually relevant still till today?
So basically, ours is not stories. So that is the beauty of it. Other people maybe and are fabricating things to keep them interesting, because
Okay.
that is a fictional aspect of a story.
Yeah.
You are basically being able to talk about things that you have created. These are things that have not been created. These are facts that have actually been lived. These
Okay.
are real things that have actually taken place. So you have always taken learnings from real things and applied them in today's day and age, so that they kind of keep you on course. It's
Right.
not something that one dreamt of the previous night and has suddenly started to narrate the next day. These have been very real journeys of our family, of or ourselves, which have taught us a lot of things. And all that has come out of it are things that we have made sure that we apply in our daily life.
Right. So after achieving so much, I'm sure still you might have certain goals and achievements. So today, if I see His Highness probably 5 or 10 years down the line, what is your vision? What are you planning still to achieve in life?
As I said, I am somebody who's very, very keen and focused and interested towards. In fact, believe it or not, I am sitting on my desk, and I will show you as well. We're just working on models of
Oh,
schools,
wow. Okay.
so it's quite interesting. So there are quite a few numbers. So education is certainly the way forward as far as I am concerned. So we've been working on designs, concepts of how things can
Right.
make a difference, and
Right.
what we can
Okay.
do to achieve. So education is definitely the way forward.
Okay.
So next 10 years, next few generations, I think we have our job cut out for us.
Right.
And We really need to make sure that how we can contribute to society and to the world to be able to, educate as many people. And today we are the youngest country in the world. The
Yes.
youngest number of uh, people in terms of our population exist in our country. And what do they need? They have a lot of energy, they have a lot of excitement within them, but they do need the direction.
Right.
उनको दिशा और दशा देखना और जानना बहुत जरूरी है. And
Right.
that is something that is only going to come from uh, being equipped by knowledge.
Right.
So I definitely want to work towards educating people as much as possible.
Right. So your presence reflects understated power, but do you believe style is an extension of personality or just a strategic tool?
No, I definitely think it is an extension of personality, without a doubt. But
Okay.
people have today started to smartly use it as a tool as well. I think everything has now become overhyped and overdone. So, yes, some people smartly use it as a tool. But for me, if you ask me personally, it's always been an extension of personality.
And so if your life had to be described in one word, not as a royal, but as a normal human being, what would it be and why?
Floater,
Okay. And why, sir?
because I float in ideas, in thoughts, in
Okay.
energy,
Right.
you know.
So if today there was a biopic made on your journey, who do you think would play His Highness the best?
I think I still have to do a lot of work before I get there. So I will definitely, that is perhaps something that we can talk about in another 10, 15 years. I think I'm just about beginning my journey, and I think there is still time in my biopic. I think I still want to do a lot more work. I want to get a lot of things under my belt. And then I guess once, uh, you people come to you to say that, yes, now this is something which is ready. I don't think I've got there yet. So I'm sure I would. And perhaps at that point in time, I'm sure I'll have somebody in mind.
So this is a personal question which I also wanted to ask you was, you've lived a life, of royalty, you've seen so much in life, but still you're so humble as a person. What really keeps you grounded, sir, in today's time, when you have everything with you?
Exactly that why I don't think things that you achieve in life are the things that should make you arrogant. The things that you achieve in life are the things that actually make you humble. No, that is the entire intent of life and presence. And there's a beautiful quote that says, "अकड़ जो है वो मुर्दा लोगों के अंदर होती है, जिंदा लोगों के अंदर विनम्रता होनी चाहिए." So if you're alive, you should really be out there full of humility to be able to help. At the end of the day, arrogance has never got anybody anywhere beyond it. That is not sustainable. That is not a part of our DNA. That is not something what we have inherited.
Right.
So why? change a success formula and become something that you are not.
Right. So now I'm going to come to a fun segment. This is a rapid fire round just to know you more personally. So these are going to be quick answers
Ji,
from your side. So the first one would be
ji.
Udaipur sunrise or palace candlelight dinner?
Udaipur Sunrise,
Heritage or high fashion?
heritage,
One word that defines Mewar.
Swabhiman,
Okay. Royal protocol or spontaneous freedom?
spontaneous freedom,
Traditional sherwani or sharp tuxedo?
Sherwani any day.
Okay. A palace you love beyond Udaipur?
Yes, I love that. I think parts and areas of Germany,
Okay. One global leader you admire personally?
Modi ji.
Okay. A quote you live by?
सोच को इतनी गहरी मत करो कि फैसले कमजोर होने लग जाएं.
Wow. Uh, if Mewar had a soundtrack, what would it sound like?
Silence.
Though you have all the superpowers, sir, but if you were given a superpower for a day, how would you use it?
To cure all pain.
Okay. One thing people misunderstand about royalty.
I think they over romanticize it.
Okay. If not a royal, what would you be?
In the army,
Okay. Vintage Rolls Royce or modern supercar?
a Rolls Royce.
Okay. And so, what according to you is the biggest difference about us as millennials and the Gen Zs of today?
I don't believe in the concept of generation. I basically term it as generacism.
Okay. Also, I want to know, sir, today, what is that one thing you always wanted to do, but you were not scared to do?
Adventure.
Okay. Okay. And so today, if you have to give a message to the youth of our country, to everyone watching us today, so what would be that one message coming specially from your side?
So, as I said, what I live by is what I'm going to suggest and say. Something that I do is what exactly I'm going to say, is what I have said to you earlier. Any decisions that you make in life or any junctions that you are at, and you need to, choose and go in a certain path, then I think the idea is to be able to not overthink things, and there is no shortcut for hard work.
Right. So that has been truly an inspiring podcast that comes to an end of all the questions. So thank you so much for giving the
Thank you.
time for doing
No, no,
this.
not at all.
So I want to
With
know,
pleasure.
so,
But if
so
there's anything happening and if there is something that brings me there, I will certainly be troubling you.
definitely, sir. So thank you so
Yeah,
much once again, sir, and
with pleasure.
hope
Thank
to
you.
see you on the other side really soon, sir.
Yes, yes, yes. Look forward. Thank you so much.
Right.
Take
Thank you,
care.
sir. Thank
Take
you,
care.
sir.
Have a good
Thank you.
one. Look
You too,
after
sir.
yourself. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye.